Good morning, children. Today we will be learning a new word from the German language. The word is Schadenfreude. It's defined as the pleasure someone gets from watching another person's misfortune. Class, can you say Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude!
Can anyone in class give us an example of Schadenfreude? Yes, Gideon, what's your example?
Is that like when New York Representative George Santos got caught lying about working for Citibank when he didn't? Or when New York Representative George Santos got caught lying about having Jewish grandparents who survived the Holocaust and he didn't? Or when New York Representative George Santos got caught lying about not having a criminal record for being caught in Brazil trying to use stolen checks and he did?
Very good, Gideon. Anyone else? Yes, Leanne, do you have an example?
I heard about this thing where the ugly, flabby Cheeto ex-president,
Former President Trump, yes.
when the Cheeto ex-president tried to sell baseball cards of himself that nobody bought because he's too gross and ugly to play baseball.
Or how about how it took Kevin McCarthy 15 times to finally get enough votes to become the Speaker of the House, but he had to take it in the butt so much that they called him the Squeaker of the House?
Brian, we do not interrupt other students. We have time for one more. Jaime.
Miss! Is that like what Greg Abbott was busting immigrants from the Texas border to Democratic cities? Like a human trafficker? And then he posted a video about wanting to help end human trafficking, and everyone called him out for being a lame-ass, hypocritical stupid!
Jaime, language. Very good, class. We would like to thank the German people for giving us such a useful word to describe the daily news cycle. Now, let's move on to the next lesson of the day, particle physics.
Recorded in front of a live studio audience in Round Rock, Texas. It's the What's Update with Xander IMDb.
Season 4, Senior Year.
Yeah! Did it!
Hey! Welcome to the What's Update. I'm Xander IMDb. Let's get caught up. Alright, look. It's a new year, and whether we like it or not, they just keep on coming one after another. By our best calculations, it appears that we're still in our 4th season. Oh, but Xander, I hear no one asking. You only did 2 episodes in the first part of Season 4. Yeah, I know, but hey. This is not an excuse, but an explanation. You see, the director and I are in our last semester before graduation. This previous semester was a real hoof in the mitt. In any case, we decided to play with the format a little bit for the second half of Season 4. This episode will be a little different. It'll be shorter and more timely, and we'll still be giving y'all full episodes with the news, the thing, and interviews with interesting people, but to be honest, those are a lot of work, and there will be fewer of those than we would like. We want to keep the snark coming at a regular pace, but the production staff of one...
That's me.
Yep, director.
Yeah, the director.
We'll be working on a whole-ass documentary film this term, and her time for this rinky-dink operation will be strained. So, stick with us. We're going to try and keep some quality content coming.
Why should we start now?
Noted. So, to quote from one of my favorite characters from my all-time favorite sports movie, "Please, I pray you, hear it now, for I would lay rest the grace in my tongue and speak plainly. Days like these are far too rare to cheapen with heavy-handed words. And so, I'm afraid, without any ado whatsoever, here's what happened." So first off, in a bit of nerd news, a copy of a, quote, revision to the Open Gaming License leaked to the tabletop gaming community this month, showing Wizards of the Coast, makers of Dungeons & Dragons, and their parent corporation Hasbro's plans to force third-party creators of gaming products to pay up to 25% of their net earnings, and allow Hasbro to steal and freely republish the creator's work without compensation if they've ever used even a bit of the OGL.
Assholes.
Since 2000, third-party creators have relied on the OGL to create gaming content for D&D and dozens of other games, from Pathfinder to Call of Cthulhu. It was even the basis for the Knights of the Old Republic video game. And boy, would I love to see them try telling the mouse that they own Star Wars.
The mouse would be like, go screw yourself.
Go fuck yourself, Hasbro! Crappy impressions aside, members of the role-playing community promptly responded with the hashtags OpenDnD and D&D Beyond, and tens of thousands of customers unsubscribed from the D&D Beyond app, while a group of content creators allied to begin writing their own open gaming license.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's what happens when you piss off a bunch of rules lawyers who've trained for literal decades to read the fine print of contracts with demons and genies.
Watch out for invisible ink.
And man, I sure hope Seattle still has a Bed Bath & Beyond or two left, because Wizards of the Coast are gonna need some new sheets after how much they shit the bed this week. In other fantasy news, this week, Republican lawmakers falsely claimed that the Biden administration was proposing to pull gas stoves right out of people's homes, prompting the Consumer Product Safety Commission chairman, Alexander Hohenserich, to say that there was no such plan, and that the department is simply looking into health risks for people with respiratory ailments. Being pathologically required to lick every light socket just because somebody told him not to. Double immigrant and climate-inducible expat Ted Cruz quote tweeted an image of First Lady Dr. Jill Biden cooking in front of a gas stove in 2020 with the caption, "Rules for thee, but not for me."
Good impression.
Remember, folks, this is coming from the guy who, during the 2022 big freeze in Texas, when millions of Texans went without water and heat, bought tickets to Cancun and ostensibly declared, "Freeze for thee, but not for me."
What an asshole.
What an asshole.
Yeah, I'm guessing that he's just absolutely terrified that the EPA will make bloviating gas bags illegal because he'll have to flee the country yet again.
He can float right over back to Cuba.
And while we're still on the subject of people socially distancing themselves from reality, House Republicans have begun investigations into a series of classified documents found at the home and office of President Joe Biden. Jim Jordan, credibly accused protector of a serial sexual predator and the brand spanking new Republican head of the House Judiciary Committee, launched the investigation saying that, quote, "The American people deserve transparency and accountability from our most senior executive branch law enforcement officials."
Now.
Well, I mean, he's right, you know? Like, this is totally transparent. I mean, it's so transparent that we can see right through his bullshit. See, when Biden's lawyers found the documents, which date from the Obama presidency, they left them where they were and notified the Justice Department to retrieve them, instead of, suing the government to try and keep them.
I wonder who did that.
That orange guy.
Tis a mystery.
The
Cheeto.
The Cheeto.
So, Jimmy the Purr Protector, it's transparently not the same thing. Remember, folks, Republicans are some of the most transparent officials around. So, when they show you who they really are, believe them.
Yeah.
On Friday, January 13th, the Supreme Court took up the case of a Pennsylvanian former postal worker claiming that being forced to work on Sundays was religious discrimination. The plaintiff, Gerald Groff, is an evangelical Christian and argued that he should have been spared those shifts based on his religious belief that Sunday is a divinely mandated day of rest. Justice Elena Kagan, the sole Jewish member of the judiciary, scoffed at the petition, saying that if this is the case, she should get her Sabbath day off from Groff's bullshit.
Yeah.
And look, Jer Bear, if I have to sit through pages upon pages of Texas government documents and crappy French films for free on my Friday Sabbath, your whiny ass can toss around a few Amazon boxes on Sundays for money.
That's what you get paid for.
Republicans in the Missouri House of Representatives passed a new dress code for their female co-workers, requiring them to wear some form of jacket, blazer, or cardigan to cover their bare shoulders.
What?
Democratic Representative Ashley Awnee spoke out against the initiative, saying, quote, "Do you know what it feels like to have a bunch of men in this room looking at your top to determine if it's appropriate or not?"
I have had many men look at my top inappropriately.
That's not cool.
Well, as a representative of Gen Z, I can safely say, Yes, it's called the American education system. It's nice to see that state representatives have the same priorities as a pervy high school gym teacher.
Yeah.
Now, no similar changes were made to the men's dress code, but I honestly don't think any of them could pull off a cute strappy camisole, and nobody wants to see their flabby arms and Confederate flag tattoos, so it's probably for the best. Now, speaking of someone nobody wants to see sleeveless, Arkansas Governor Sarah, my daddy says my face has character, Huckabee Sanders, issued an executive order that the word Latinx is banned from all further state documents. Sanders cited a Pew Research study that said that only 23% of Latino adults in the U.S. know the term, and only 3% of them actively use it. According to the order, quote, one can no more easily remove gender from Spanish and other Romance languages than one can remove vowels and verbs from English. It is the policy of the governor's administration to prohibit the use of culturally insensitive words for official state government business.
Yes.
Now, hang
Yeah,
on.
in Arkansas.
And I'd be like, look, I
The
can
statues
see...
are fine.
Come on. I can see why Sanders would be so upset. After all, Latinx is, by definition, a gender-neutral alternative to Latino or Latina, much like Sanders himself is a gender-neutral alternative to good taste and common sense.
Gross.
And finally, we continue our coverage of Dixie Pixie, living legend, and national treasure, Miss Dolly Parton, in our recurring segment, Dollywise.
Let's
Yeah!
Miss Dolly. Yeah.
Go, Miss Dolly!
In November, Miss Dolly received the Courage and Civility Award, which comes with a $100 million grant towards any charity or organization of her choosing, from Amazon founder and 3 Humpty Dumptys in a trench coat, Jeff Bezos.
Because he's bald.
Now, Miss Parton has a long history of charity work with an equally long list of organizations, from wildlife preservation to pet protection to the famous Imagination Library, which has helped children and adults alike in their education through books, supplies, and even tuition payments. It's anyone's guess as to where this angel on earth will decide to spread the money, but it stands to reason that she'll do her best to help those in need with her well-deserved resources. And just as a side note to Mr. Bezos, it is obvious that we have a mutual appreciation for Miss Dolly, but that doesn't mean I'll stop picking on you. Like Jesus Christ and GB Crisco, Miss Dolly loves everyone, but your below-the-line employees seem to regard you as a huge buggering asshole. So the next time you think about screwing over your workers, again, pause a moment and ask yourself, what would Dolly do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick around, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Welcome back.
Hey, Zan.
Yeah?
I know this seems like an odd time to be doing this, but
It's not really a good time to be doing any of this.
well, that's true. Okay, so I've been playing because we've been playing Gin a lot lately,
Yeah.
and the games on the phone, and I'm getting like way too many ads, as I'm sure you are. Do you have an opinion on ads in games?
I fucking hate them, but let me tell you why. Alright, look, so you have any sort of mobile game in, anything that looks like it's remotely of quality. You just know that it's going to be flooded with millions of ads for games that either don't exist, like all those ones where you see it's like, pull the pin on this level in the correct order, and you win a prize or something like that. And yet, it's another one of those freemium Clash of Clans clones. Or, in the weirdest cases, you get things like a Gin Rummy game, and then you get ads for other Gin games. It's freaking ridiculous. And for the other ones, it's either, okay, it's all the same, you have 5 letters, you have to get them in the specific order and try and make different words. And all of them have that same tagline of, play this game for this amount of time and it'll prevent you from getting the old-timer's disease. It's it's absolute horseshit. Sure, I can spell think 5 times and suddenly I won't lose my memory. Sure, guys, sure. And then for all those ads, there's always the ones that are like, this will determine your IQ if you can put these blocks in the specific order, in the specific place. And then it'll be like, you do it this way, you do it this way. And then they'll make some sort of obvious mistake, and that's going to try and get you to be like, how could somebody be so dumb? I'm going to play this game and show them that it's actually easy. And then they got you, which will then bring you to a million more fucking ads.
You know who's good at blocks?
Yeah, it's like, the second I'm able to, reasonably get ad block onto my phone, I'm downloading that shit immediately, because it's getting ridiculous. Like, say, back to the Gin app. Like, you play one hand, and you do your thing, you lose, you win. Play another hand, you lose, you win. You don't even get to end the round before you get a 30-second ad. And sure, you do get the little X button after 5 seconds, where you can go on to the next thing, but a couple things are going to happen here. One, you're going to miss that X, because I swear to GB Crisco Almighty, that thing has a different hitbox than what it actually is. It could be, the X on screen is up here, but the actual X is just a little bit down here, so if you don't know how to get around that, you're going to the App Store, Jimbo.
Or the mute button.
Yeah, or the mute button. If you're setting up these ads, especially if it's the same ad the next time, if I mute it once, I want to mute it the entire time, but it'll reset, and no matter whether you have your sound on or off, it's going to come in at the most inopportune time and make everybody stare at you like, why the hell do you have your sound on? And I'm like, I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to play some gin. So you got that. And then you got the ads where it's like, okay, we're going to show you the screen capture of somebody playing the game. Cool, I don't want to play this. X. Well, now we can show you the interactable version of it where you can try out the game. And that is always bullshit, because the second you try and tap that screen, it's like, you can make a match with this one. Here, give it a try. App Store. It's like, that is the height of fucking... the audacity of these bitches. It's like, you can play this game right here to try it out. Just like the good old days. Hey, you remember those days where you'd walk into Target and, hey, they got a PS2 set up over here so you can try out Jak and Daxter. I'm like, cool, I can try this out before I buy it. I don't think they're going on the nostalgia for that sort of thing, or just the concept of demos in general, but there's gotta be at least 4 out of 5 people that will fall for that on occasion, because sometimes they are actually interactable, and those ads I have a bit of respect for. So it's like, okay, I kinda like the concept of this game, I think I might give it a try. And then you get to the next ad, it's like, okay, I'll try this one out. Boop, App Store.
Wait, do you get the ones with the pregnant women getting...
Yeah, those are the freaking oddest ones. You got two types, word games and matching games. So, the matching games are just Candy Crush clones, and for those, it's always, pregnant woman, the guy is mistreating her, and then there's a whole thing where it's pick the 2 options, either stay with him or leave with him, and this isn't even a part of that game, and why the fuck, what is the subject matter here? So then it goes into the whole, she has to move into this decrepit house, and you have to match blocks in order to make it a lot better. What? I know for a fact that as soon as I open up that game, it's just gonna be, okay, you get 50 levels of, you can figure it out with just your brains, your skills, and your wits. But then after that point, you're gonna have to pay money in order to solve any of the next puzzles. It's it's either not gonna give you the amount of moves you need, or it's gonna be all out of whack. So you got those. And then you got the word games, the ones where you gotta, you got 5 letters, and you gotta put them all in the order, and to make a whole bunch of words. Kind of cool. If I wanted that, I'd just go to my New York Times subscription, do the freaking the word solver. But for those, it always has the same stock video of an old lady with her arms crossed, looking at the screen, it's like, are you actually smart or not? And then the whole, this'll test your IQ thing. They use it for every single type of that advertisement. It's ridiculous. So you got all of that. And then they have the audacity to, after I've already clicked X on the, here's somebody playing the game. I've clicked X on, here, try out the game. But we're actually going to send you to the App Store. And then it'll pop up one more time, which is bringing up the screen underneath, showing the icon for the app, and just a big blue button that says Get. And then you have to wait 5 more seconds to get another X. It's I already told you to fuck off twice and you're still here. Go away. I'm just trying to get that goddamn big gin. Get out of my way. And so I got a lot of respect for games like, say, Polytopia, where it's like a long-term real-time strategy game, and got a nice art style, and surprisingly, no ads. And, like, sure, there are a lot of things in the game where you can pick new characters or new civilizations that you want to play as if you want to pay some money. But the base game is just fine. And if you want to play multiplayer against somebody else, you can determine some house rules that way. It's fine, it's good, no advertisements, and it's very simple to walk in and walk out of. But for pretty much every other app, it is absolute horseshit. And that is why I fucking hate it. Stick around, we'll be right back. Hey, thank you very much for watching. I hope the new format wasn't a bit too crazy for you. Should have put a disclaimer in the front end. Might do that in editing. So, I hope you can stick around for the rest of Season 4. We're going to try and get out full episodes as soon as we can, but in the meantime, we'll have these for more short-term content and keeping you up to date with things while also giving you a nice laugh. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. As always, it is what it is.